Welcome, everybody. You're on Artist on Record, your ultimate intimate conversation with your favorite artist. And if it's your first time here, do me a favor, subscribe, hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss any other episodes. Give us a thumbs up. That's you. That's right. You can do it. And also put your comments down below. I really like to hear what you have to say. And if you love the show, what you don't like about the show, put it all there. You're entitled to your comments, and I appreciate the feedback. Now, tonight, put your hands together for this gentleman. A lot of great music he has given us, and he's given us more. I have in the hot seat co-founder and lead vocalist of the Hollies, Mr. Allan Clarke. He is back. His single is out right now. Buddy's back. And also his new record will be out, I'll never forget, April 7th. The song Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress. One of the coolest riffs. It's raw, it's cool, but how is it really played? Well, check this out. I have Mr. Allan Clarke of the Hollies, who co-wrote the song, shares his story. Don't touch that dial. It all starts now. A friend of mine covered one of your songs, and you might know him. And it was Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress. He had a band, Slim Jim Phantom of the Stray Cats. He had a band with Earl Slick, and they covered Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress on their record. Many people have covered it.
Working for the FBI.
Sitting in a nest of bad men, whiskey bottles piling high. Cruising and bruising on the west side. People doing wrong. Just about to call up the baby. That's all I sing a song.
Great song you co-wrote. And tell me about that song, because it's one of my. It has that Creedence edge to it, which
I love Creedence Clearwater River. I think it's a great band, you know, and but that wasn't in my mind. What it was, there's a guy called Roger Cook, you know Roger Cook, with Blue.
Yeah.
We met in the street one day, and he said we should write something together. I said, well, you know, when do you want to do it? So we got a day, and we went to the offices of Air, which was the company of the producers. Like there was Ron Richards, ours, there was George Martin, and two other producers. They had different artists, and they had an office. So we met in the office, and we went downstairs to where a piano was in the basement, and he brought a bottle of brandy with him. So I thought, I took my guitar. He used to use a ukulele to write songs on. I said, well, where do we start? And he said, well, I've got this idea. He said about this woman who gets in with a DA and things like that. I said, okay, well, just, give us a bit of what you got. So he gave me this sort of introduction to what the story is about, but he'd only got far as like the first verse. And I said, that sounds like rock and roll to me. And he says, okay. So we went through it and we took a drink. And we went through it another again, and we took another drink. And we were getting really good, and we were happy, and we was having a good time. And we finished it, and I said, I think I'll put this on the front of it. So I did the riff, and I don't know where it came from. I hadn't copied it from anywhere because I don't play lead guitar, never. But for some known reason, here it came a ding, 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 ding. And he went, oh, wow. He says, and that's great. So, I mean, I think it may have been that evening we were in our studios, and we were doing an album called Distant Light, and I played it to the boys, and they said, yeah, it's a good album track, that fantastic. He said, you play guitar because you know it. So I thought, great, playing the guitar. And so me, Bobby, and Bernie, the three of us just went through the song one more time to get it into a groove, and then we did the backing track. And then Tony put a little extra rhythm on the top of it. and it got chunkier. I double tracked the guitar, and then I put the vocal down. I did 2 takes, and we actually kept the first one. Ron Richards didn't produce it because he was ill. It was the engineer that when we went into the booth with him. He said, "Yeah, I put a little echo on it, the Elvis stuff." I said, "Let's hear it." It was great. I said, it's more or less finished. All you got to do is 4 parts, put them together, and it's rock and roll. He said, "Okay, wait a minute." And we'd written it in half an hour. And I think we actually produced the song in about an hour, after a lot of mics and all that sort of being put up. And we took it out, and it was on the album. Now, what a lot of people don't know about that song is there's a line in it which goes, "Jumping out of doors and tables."
Jumping out of doors and tables.
You can't jump out of a table. It should have been jumping out of doors and windows. But because it was such a good track, we left it. And nobody seems to have noticed it. So you can't jump out of a table. But, when it's going so well, you leave things like that in. But that's the funny part of that record. But it went to number 2 in America, and I wasn't with the guys. I was going to do my own solo album. So they said, "Go ahead, Al, we'll get another lead singer." But, I would have loved to have gone to America and done that. Because the Hollies then would have been that much bigger and be able to play bigger places, and but that wasn't to be. Me and Roger were pleased about number 2 in America.
Yeah. You know what? Great song. A lot of people, great. One of the best riffs. It's so raw and unique. Maybe because you weren't so schooled on guitar, and your heart just went right into that riff. It's a great riff, and you have bands, even from bands like this band Fish all the way to Motley Crue singer Vince Neil covered it. It's to country people, Clint Beck. I mean, Motley Crue. It's,
if only they know. See, we did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think it was about 2010. We were inducted into that. I was feeling. I'd left the Hollies about 10 years, and I'd never sung. But Graham said, "You got to come over and do it because Tony and Bobby are not coming." I thought, well, I thought you just sent a statue, and I put it on my mantelpiece. He said, "No, you have to come and you have to perform." Of course, my vocal cords had given up. So he said, "Don't worry about it." He says, we'll get some help. So, okay. So I took my son with me and my wife. We went over there. We walked into the studio, and it was at the Waldorf on the 3rd floor, was a ballroom, and with stage, and there was Paul Schaefer and his great band. And I walked in, and everybody clapped and said, "Hey, Allan Clarke," and I felt really proud, And I got on stage, and I said, "Well, what we're doing?" He said, "Who?" I said, "Who are these guys?" And he said, "Well, I'd like to introduce you to Adam Levine, right?
Maroon 5. Okay.
This is Pat Donovan from Train. Now, they hadn't really got to the height of their fame at that particular thing. So I thought, well, this is good. Graham said, "They're going to help." So we started, and we went through Bus Stop. And when I'd finished that, I looked at my son. My son went, "Oh, that's okay." And all the stress went, it just dropped away. And I started enjoying myself. But then, the band, we said, "We're going to do Long Cool Woman now." So I put my guitar on. And the 2 guitarists in the Schaefer band said, before we start, Alan, can you show us that riff again? Because there's something that we're missing. We can't decide where it's coming from. I said, okay. So I did it down. It's that diddle where people can't get it. And what it is, it's one finger laid on and then tap it again, so it sounds like a double note. And you have to tap it, you can't pluck it. And they went, "Oh, that's it." I said, "Now you think it's easy, don't you?"
Some rock and roll.
Here we go.
Things like that happen. It was great to meet someone who couldn't play it. Even what is it, Bonamassa?
Joe Bonamassa, yes.
Even he said it was one of the greatest things, and I feel so, wow. Fancy just doing that out of your head, and then all of a sudden it's one of these. It's great. It's used a lot in films. Just that.
If you'd found it, you'd be home by now.
You could have kept it a secret, like almost like Carly Simon won't tell who You're So Vain's written about. You could have kept the liquor secret. I'm not telling nobody the secret.
I'm so honest, you know.
I know.
They're funny parts in life, you know.
That was Mr. Allan Clarke. And if you want to see more of this episode, unedited, uncut, please check out our all access VIP backstage pass in Patreon. A lot of fun, a lot of laughs. But until then, everybody, it is only rock and roll, and we like it. And remember, who loves you, baby? We do. Until then, I'll catch you all later.